Okay, my friends, it's time for a more in-depth review on my new Bushtool S from Rob Evans Woodsman. I've posted a couple shorts out there showing this off, but I wanted to take just a few minutes and go through a little bit of a more in-depth review and my thoughts and kind of how this knife came to be. So I won't bore you to death, but well, maybe I will bore you to death. I don't know. Leave in your comments if I bore you to death. But I wanted to show this off. First, I wanted to quickly talk about the sheaths. This is the first leather neck sheath that I've ordered from Rob, and I have zero complaints. This thing is phenomenal. I kind of wish I would have ordered a leather sheath for all of my Rob Evans knives, quite frankly. That said, I really have no complaints with his Kydex sheaths. I think his Kydex sheaths work great. I always add a couple of Ranger bands on my sheaths like this just for holding other items, maybe a ferro rod or whatever. So I'm a big fan of Ranger bands, and I think these neck sheaths work great. No complaints with the Kydex sheaths that he offers either. But I wanted to show you this beauty. So for those of you that know or aware of the Bushtool design, this is inspired by Rod Garcia's Skookum Bushtool, but Rob has taken the time to really improve the design with a little bit of a steeper bevel, a stronger edge. I think just overall a great tool. And quite frankly, for those of you that know, you will wait years and years and years to get your hands on a Rod Garcia Bushtool. Not that there's any problem with that, but I'm kind of to the point. I think I reached out in 2019 and asked to be put on his list, and the last I heard was that it could be up to like an 8-year wait. So I don't know, by the time my turn comes around, I'll probably get one, but I've kind of lost my, I don't know, pizzazz to get my hands on one of his Bushtools. Anyways, that's neither here or there. This is a review of Rob's Bushtool, and I wanted to kind of talk about this Bushtool. So I wanted to do something a little bit different than I've done with all of my knives. And as I've ordered knives from Rob, I've talked to him ahead of time and said, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking. Like with my MK1 and MK2, I wanted to do kind of a matching pair, and went with green canvas micarta with yellow and black liners. And then my FTP, I went with red canvas micarta with black and yellow liners. And then I ended up winning one of his coffee comps, which was a red canvas micarta MK2 with black liners. So very awesome. And I didn't have a Bushtool, and I really like the designs of the Bushtool. And so I was like, hey, I think I'm going to order a Bushtool from Rob. But I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to really make this kind of the one to rule them all. I've always loved his profile on this Bushtool, specifically his Bushtool S with a little bit of a steeper clip for carving, but yet it's still a very strong tip. And so when I was talking to Rob about it, I said, gosh, what do I want to do? And so my initial thoughts were, I wanted to try to tie in some of my heritage, which I've got a very strong Welsh heritage coming through my mother's side, as well as Irish. So I have Irish relatives that actually moved to Wales, and then have this whole line of which my mother's father, so my grandfather, it's his line that goes back to Wales and Ireland. So I wanted to tie something in kind of as make a heritage Bushtool in remembrance of my heritage on my mother's side. My dad's side comes from Norway, so I call myself like the hairless breed because none of us can really grow hair. If I ever wanted to grow a big burly beard, I just couldn't. But I've got great heritage on my dad's side too, through his line that is Scandinavian and Norwegian, and on my mom's side, French Canadian and English, Irish, and Welsh, and probably a whole lot of other stuff in between. I'm just a great Heinz 57 breed. But my initial thoughts were to do, okay, I want to do like a mosaic pin. I found these pins shipped them to Rob, and I said, I want to use these pins because they are very reminiscent to me of like Celtic knots, and a specific knot in particular. And so I was like, man, that would just be really cool. But I was thinking initially to do like black canvas micarta and then like to tie in the Welsh through like 3-liners and whatnot. But I talked to Rob and I said, hey, here's kind of my thoughts. And he gave me his thoughts. And he said, I think it would be really, really classy to go with white linen micarta with your mosaic pins and then do a red and dark green liner and go that route versus, you know, a black canvas micarta with the mosaic pins and 3-liners. It might be a little bit busy and kind of not turn out that great. And I will tell you, when he first said go with white canvas micarta or consider that as an option, you know, and Rob would have done anything I would have asked for him, but I trust his judgment just because he really puts a lot of time and effort and pride in not just making a great tool, but making it aesthetically pleasing. And I'd never thought of a white handle. I was like, gosh, that's going to just almost be like too white, maybe. But he said, I think with the pins and the liners, you're going to find yourself having a very nice knife that does not look overly white. So I had a really hard time envisioning it, but I trusted his judgment. I said, okay, let's go ahead and do that. Let's do white with red and green liners with the mosaic pins, brass tubes, and see how it turns out. And it is so much nicer than what I could even imagine. I mean, look at that. His fit and finish is just absolutely phenomenal. So you've got the butt plate, okay, and the white linen micarta, the contouring, just everything on this thing is just so sleek and awesome. And tying in my heritage, I mean, I don't know that I could have done anything nicer than that. I mean, you've got the Welsh colors of the flag, the white, green, and red. You've got the mosaic pins, which turned out so nice. And I was thinking, man, I've got to give that a name. I mean, I've got names for all of my knives, which is maybe kind of a dumb, silly thing. But my FTP, I call Little Marco. And my MK2 is Fat Al. My MK1 is Fat Sal. I'm just pulling your leg. I really don't name all my knives, but this one I was like, I just have to give this a name because it is the one knife to rule them all. One knife to find them. One knife to bring them all. In knife addiction, bind them. And that's exactly what I have, ladies and gentlemen, is a very severe OCD tendency that pulls me to knife addiction. And if you're going to be addicted to knives, then why not be addicted to Rob Evans Woodsman knives? I mean, they're the best freaking knives that you can get your hands on from a custom maker that is very awesome to work with and just does a great job. But back to the name. I named this the Wokrist, the White Wokrist. For those of you that are Tolkien fans and understand Elvish, well, you've got a very famous sword that was forged by the elves in the First Age called the Orcrist, or the Goblin Cleaver. So orc meaning orc, you know, those little funny creatures that run around and growl and eat, eat flesh and, pillage and plunder and do the bidding of Sauron. And then Christ, which mean, not Christ, sorry, orc, and then Rist, which is to cut. So literally the orc cutter, or to cut an orc. This is the White Wokrist. And I just have to tell you, this is all me. I'm not going to get political on this, but woke, we all know what woke means, and I'm not even going to delve into this. I want to keep this very polite and considerate. But if you know me, for those of you that know me, you know how I feel about woke ideology. And then wrist, which is to cut. So it's reminiscent of cutting through woke ideology. So there you go. That's why I named it the White Wokrist. But from a heritage standpoint, absolutely phenomenal. And one other thing that I'd say when I got this, I opened this up and I shared this with Rob, but white, red, and green, I opened this up and I was like, man, I was just flooded with memories of my wonderful mother who I lost during COVID. And she loved Christmas. And these were her favorite colors. So I was like, not only do I have a really great heritage knife, but when I'm out and about playing in the woods and, you know, living out all my hypothetical survival fantasies that are never reality, but the things that we do to ourselves. For those of you that are in the knife, bushcraft, and survival community know exactly what I'm talking about. We go out and pretend that these things are actually going to happen, and knowing that they never will, but we have fun doing it. So I was like, well, that's a great thing to have, and you know, have something that reminds me of one of the most important ladies in my life that has done so much for me, somebody who I love dearly. Reminds me of her cheerful personality and countenance, as well as from a heritage standpoint. So there you go.
I dumped my stupid boyfriend. I dumped him in the snow. I'd like to get around, 'cause I'm a stupid...
Again, trust Rob's judgment. If those of you, for those of you that have seen my videos and are thinking, well, maybe do I buy a knife from Rob or don't buy a knife from Rob? I will tell you this. You will get an incredible tool, but if you are thinking of somewhat of a custom design and you reach out to him and talk to him and you present an idea and he says, you know, these are the thoughts and feelings I have. I don't know if it would work well because of this or that. I took somewhat of a gamble on going with this configuration, but completely trusted him because every knife I've received from Rob is exceptional and very aesthetically pleasing, very well refined and finished. And I could not be happier. And I'm very glad that he wasn't just like any other knife maker where you reach out and say, well, this is what I want to do. Okay, give me your money. I'm going to go ahead and do it. But to actually ask him for input and to have him think very thoughtfully about the work that he does, not just in selling a tool, but providing something that is going to make his customers happy. That's what he did. And that's the type of knife maker he is. And yeah, so buy from Rob Evans. If you're looking for a great bushcraft knife, buy from Rob Evans. You will not be disappointed. And I'm thinking I'm going to probably throw this in the fire, knowing that it is embedded with Rob awesomeness, and see if the steel plate glows with the writings of Mordor. One knife to rule them all. One knife to find them. One knife to bring them all. In knife addiction bind them. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I'll tell you, I've got, you know, well, I better not say this. That would be completely rude. But Rob knows if this knife does not glow blue for very specific reasons, I'm going to ask for my money back. Because a knife this incredible surely should glow blue. I mean, put it in your comments. It should glow blue for very specific reasons, known to only a few. I'm not going to go into that here because that's not the point of this channel. This channel is about great knives and bushcrafty things, and yeah. So there's my little spiel on the white Wokrist heritage bush tool knife. Welsh and Celtic, Irish, you know, the essence of those two things wrapped into an incredible tool. And if you're looking for a great knife, look no further than Rob Evans. Perfect blade. So there you go. Thank you so much. Please add your comments. Please like and subscribe. I'm getting close to 1,000. I'm a little over 100 away, and I think I'm going to do some type of a knife giveaway or something of that nature to show my appreciation and thanks for the support of this channel. Of course, not this knife and not any of my Rob Evans knives. I'm going to find like some crappy Kool-Aid stirrer that just rots in my bag of knives, and I'll give that away. Anyways, have a great day, everyone. Take care. Bye.